Welcome to Last Stitch Effort. This is my knitting podcast where I share my yarn management goals and stash busting goals with you. My name is Pacasha. I've been knitting for about 20 years and spinning for about 15. And this is my stash. It goes up high and there's cubbies below. There is also a cabinet on the other side of the room, and that has 7 cones and some baskets full of fiber. And I also have a large wooden box over here that is also filled with fiber. The purpose of this podcast is to use every bit that I can in a very responsible and beautiful way. I don't want to make things, just for the sake of making things. I do actually like pretty projects. And I want to record that in kind of crazy minute detail using my Ravelry stash feature. So you can join along with me on Ravelry. My username is just pacasha, and that will be written down below because it's a weird word to spell. And on Instagram, my name is Pacasha Younger, no spaces, and that will be linked below too. Hopefully, if this makes it out into the world. I'm also doing a challenge this year where I make 10 sweaters, 10 hand projects like mitts or mittens, 10 hats, 10 pairs of socks, and 10 either shawls or cowls, something for your neck, scarf, whatever. And I'm going to share my progress with that project as well with you guys. And so I might as well start with that because right now I'm just going to give you numbers. For sweaters, I'm at 6. I finished 6, so I have 4 more to go. And right now this is kind of the beginning of August, so I've got some time, and I'm counting baby sweaters in that too. And I don't have babies to knit for, but there will be babies somewhere someday, thankfully, and they'll be well equipped once they come. Anyway, my hand coverings, I have 7, so I'm doing pretty well on that. And then I have 5 hats done, and I have 8 pairs of socks finished already. And I have six shawls or cowls, whatever. So I have 4 to go on that. I am recovering from a broken ankle, so I've actually got quite a lot of knitting done in the last 2 months. So I'm going to show you some recent finished objects, so then you can get an idea of what my knitting style is like and kind of what to expect. And if I look down, it's because this is really weird, and if you think it's easy, well, good for you. Anyway, this was a hat I made several months ago, and it's called the Lombard. I think it was a tam. It's by Virginia Sattler-Reimer, and it's super pretty. It did turn out beanie sized and not tam sized, which is fine. I don't mind that at all. And I used a lot of scraps on that. However, I still had quite a bit left, except for this color Marble Heather, which is Knit Picks palette. And so this was a few months ago. And so recently I finished this pair of mittens to kind of match. I ran out of Marble Heather. I still have a few grams left, but I couldn't use it, throughout here and have it still look okay. So I substituted that after the cuff with Finley Heather palette, and I also used Shawl and Rainforest Heather, which are very similar. However, I only had a few grams of Shawl, and I had quite a bit left over of Rainforest Heather, so I just kind of interspersed Shawl throughout, so it would get completely used up. And it's kind of mixed in here. It's kind of hard to pick where it's out, where it falls out, and that's okay. That you can't tell at all. I mean, I can tell, but it also uses, what other color? I think it was Seafaring. So really the only yarn I used up was Shawl and Marble Heather, but I still have a couple of grams of Marble Heather, but that's okay. It'll work its way into something else. And I also used, I can't pronounce this very well, HolstGarn. Guessing that that's what that is, and that's that hot pink color, which is what's considered a poison color in Fair Isle or Colorwork. Anyway, so I just finished these, and this pattern is fantastic. She designs the nicest matching sets, and I mean the mittens feel fantastic. And usually there's kind of a problem with the thumb gusset. I've knit a lot of mittens in my time, and I really like this one. I think it fits really well. It doesn't pull across, you know, the hand where your thumb is. And I don't know if I did any, I can't remember if I did any changes, because kind of changes just happen, you know, as I go. But I love the way the thumb is shaped, and yeah, it's a good pair of mittens, and I like it. And it is boiling hot here today, and I do not have air conditioning, even though I live in New Mexico. But I mean, it's cute, right? It's all right. Yeah. Okay. And they match, you know, or coordinate, and I'm okay with that. And you know, I have a whole drawer full of this stuff, so it may become a gift. It may not. We'll see. Anyway, so that the Shawl and the Rainforest Heather and the Seafaring, those are my favorite colors, or teals, and you can't really tell from that that's my favorite color, but that's my favorite color. This is my second favorite color right here, and it's kind of that tobacco greenish yellow color, and you'll probably see a lot of that in projects as well. So another finished object I have is a little flax. Isn't it cute? So this is Knit Picks Stroll Glimmer, which I think is discontinued, and it's in Peacock, which is a little bit more blue, more teal. No, it's pretty accurate. It's not too bad. Once again, no babies to knit for that I know of, but there will be a baby, and this will be perfect, and it's super soft. I don't like using Stroll for socks, mainly because sometimes socks end up in the washer and dryer, which is okay, but I find that Stroll gets a little fuzzy, and yeah, I just think it would be better as a baby sweater. Who cares if it gets fuzzy? But for socks, it doesn't seem to be the most durable for me. So, and I have a lot of it, so there will be a lot of sock yarn baby sweaters. Oh, and I did hold it double, and I used the worsted version of Flax by Tin Can Knits to knit that, and that was super fast and fun little knit. And I did short sleeves because, I don't know, because there's no baby to measure arms with, so that's that. I finished a pair of socks. I almost always have a pair of socks going. This is, oh, it turns out really nice on the camera. This is called the Peacock socks, and the designer is Alex Anders, and I used Biche Bouche, I don't know how to say that, in Warm Sunset. I used about half a ball of it. Now this yarn, well, it's really pretty, like really pretty. It's also very splitty. It doesn't have a very high twist, but it was fun to work with, and I've wanted to try the brand for a while. And it came in my Woolly Thistle sock bag that they do like a sock exploration type, I don't know, set. And I really enjoyed getting that, and I enjoyed trying this. However, this is probably not a yarn that I will buy again, just because it's splitty. I don't know. It was lovely, but not my favorite, so why waste my time on that? And I still have half a ball. I think it's up there. So it will make its way into probably a crocheted blanket at some point. I probably won't use it for knitting, especially with small needles. I found that a little bit difficult, or not difficult, just kind of annoying. This one, out of the corner of my eye, I saw something that didn't get woven in. So this is going to be no surprise, because everybody and their mother has knit this. This is my half and half triangles wrap, and I'm a big girl. Well, I'm very short, but I'm very polka dot shaped. And I really wanted a big shawl, because the part that covers, you know, my middle needs to be super big to cover effectively and to stay in position. So I did a half and half wraps, and I did the large one, and I mean, there's just no way that I can tell you. Well, I could probably measure it, but I have a broken foot, and honestly, I'm not gonna put a lot of effort into this. I didn't even block it. Like, but this is primarily, and there's an oopsie, but you can hardly tell. This is half and half wrap by Purl Soho, which actually, this needs to be said. It's by Jake Canton for Purl Soho. So Purl Soho has kind of gotten quite a lot of publicity out of this, but this is actually made by a person and not just the the, the yarn store. It is made out of their own linen quill, and I used fresh pickle, and I used lychee pink, and I don't know what that means. Okay, anyway, I used about 2.5 skeins of both colors for something this large. And I know, like, when I was planning this project, I was really kind of annoyed that people just put in that they use 6 skeins. And I like to know more because I like to plan ahead, you know, what I'm going to do with my leftovers afterwards. If I really need that many skeins, or if, you know, I can get by with, you know, a few less to save some money. That's another thing. I'm kind of cheap, but not really me. But I just want you to know, yeah, go ahead and order the 3 skeins if you're making the large one. It's super nice to knit. I really enjoyed it. I had, you know, like I said, I've had a broken ankle almost all summer. And so this kind of sat with me while I sat on the couch for days and days at a time. I mean, that's primarily how the summer was spent. And I got quite a bit done. I worked on it quite a bit before we left for a long vacation. And I broke my ankle on that vacation. And I didn't want to take it because it used a lot of yarn, and I kind of wish I had, because I did knit quite a bit once I was held up a bit. But thankfully, it was in New Zealand. New Zealand does have yarn stores, and I did go yarn shopping a day or two before, so I had yarn to work on, and that worked out really well. But anyway, that's some of my latest projects. And now what I'm knitting now, there is a pattern called Autumn Leaves. I think it's Linier or Linier. I'm not sure what word that's supposed to be. By Shawn Price White. And I'm mixing that pattern with Ella Gordon's Hat Cowl. Basically, it's 2 rectangles that it's kind of like a poncho. And then it has like a lace thing around the mid part. I didn't really feel like doing lace, plus the pattern didn't come charted, which I find kind of annoying, and I could have charted it myself, but honestly, I'm also kind of lazy, so I just ignored it and decided that I wanted to do kind of a hat. Well, I guess it's like feather and fan, really, or shale. Oh my goodness, it's tangled. Along the bottom, because I liked it, because the yarn that I was planning on using would suit it. This is HolstGarn Coast, which is their cotton and wool blend, and I wanted something kind of a summery top to wear with like little dresses that hits right on your waist, where it's kind of a little more flattering if you care about that sort of thing. So it's basically 2 large rectangles, and then I will seam them together at the top. And you're, according to the original pattern, you're supposed to just kind of tack along the waist and not sew up around the arms. So we'll just kind of play with that once we get there and see how that works. But anyway, the Coast yarn that I have came with 2 balls like this. And then also, excuse crinkling, which I love because I like ASMR. It came with little packs like this. And I wanted to do kind of a gradient, and I wanted to use as much of this as possible. And I had 2 sets of this. I had 2 with this blue royal color, and then I have another one that had the exact same mini skeins, but with lead, which is kind of a charcoal gray. And so I wanted to use one of the sets for this, and if I needed to use the minis for this part, I had those available. To efficiently use my yarn, I knit that first, made sure it was a measurement that was appropriate, and then I used one of the full balls to knit this top part, and then I did, last night, a 3 needle bind off on the back with the right sides together, and it made this, and I think that's going to be kind of good once we get it blocked and everything. And I ended up not going into the second mini skein section. So that was good. And now I am planning with the leftovers of this, which there's not much after all of this, there's not much left over, to add that to the next project with the lead main balls, and that will be what's called a horizon scarf, which is what the kit was intended for, and it's horizon with an S, not with a Z. I don't know if that's like the Dutch spelling of that, because that's where this yarn is from. So we'll do that next, and hopefully that will use up all of that yarn. I do still have a little bit of Holst, like a goodie bag, that I'm going to try to either work into the scarf or find a different project completely and use up whatever sets I can with whatever sets and leftovers. So that's my first project. I haven't told you my second. Anyway, this one is a pair of socks called Prairie Socks by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears, who I love dearly. She's just precious to me. And I'm not far at all. That's because I made a mistake, and then I made a big mistake, but I was in the car, and so I just cut it off and started a new one, because I knew if I tried to unravel it, I would just get frustrated and not knit. And so this way I can just save this for something else later, and that's fine. I try to give myself a lot more grace with knitting and just not be so uptight about things. But anyway, this yarn is yarn that I dyed back when I had, back when I dyed for my Etsy store. And this is, my company was Younger Yarn, and this is the, showy string, which is Gold Stellina, I believe. And this color is called Inara Syringe, which is from Firefly. If you watch, there was kind of a behind the scenes anniversary type special, and Joss Whedon mentioned how he would have Inara dye, and it was horrible and kind of traumatic to hear, but it has always stuck with me. And you know, that was several years ago, and I dyed yarn because of that. And it's kind of I've stopped and started a lot of projects using this yarn because I wanted it to be the most perfect thing ever, and I'm kind of letting go of that in the hopes that I can actually finish some stuff and make some room and feel better about myself and my decisions in life. And so we're trying this pair of socks. I think it's gonna work. I mean, I've knit that pattern before and I really love it. It's easy to do while you're sitting around or distracted or not distracted, and it's a nice little pattern. These will probably be for me, but honestly, I do not need more socks for myself. The other pair that I showed you, these I'm going to give to a friend because they're not my colors mainly, and also I do not need socks. But these, because it for some reason means so much to me, I'm going to keep these, and that's okay. And that's all I have right now for works in progress. If I continue to do this, maybe I'll talk about some of my favorite pattern books. You know, I've been knitting a long time. I do have, I mean, I don't want to like be obnoxious about this, but I do kind of know a bit about knitting and what I like, what I don't like, maybe things that can help you. I probably won't be doing tutorials or teaching you how to knit. There's plenty of other things out there that are much better, well produced than this, and somebody who knows what they're talking about a little bit better than I do. But I will share, you know, what I know and tips and silliness along the way, and hopefully we will get through this together. If you have kind of favorite scrappy projects that you like to do, give me suggestions if anybody watches this. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on Ravelry, that would be great. I'm not super active on Ravelry, but I used to be, and I know it's not for everybody, and I understand that completely, and I agree with that also. However, it is a very useful tool for me, so I do continue to use it quite a bit, especially, you know, measuring all my my stash and my queue and holding all my patterns. Well, not all of them, because I also have a large bookcase over here full of knitting books, and while I won't be destashing those, maybe I will, maybe I won't, that would be kind of nice to get through some of those patterns too, because I find I collect a lot of things, free patterns, paid for patterns, books from the thrift store, yarn from God knows where, and it's just a lot. And I have a lot of other stuff, and this does not need to be weighing heavy on me. This is my escape from the other stuff. So anyway, I hope you join me, and I hope this is interesting, and hope to talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye.